So on your own, using your own MVC app, you're going to do a custom display action method in one of your controllers and create a view that uses strongly typed helpers to display the data from one of your tables. Modify the text or background color of the table or a row in the table using Bootstrap and add the page to the navigation bar. So in my sample, I modified my animal controller and I created a display view. And maybe I'll show this to you while it's loading. Okay, so it's very similar to what we did in Contasso, sending a list from my animal table to the view. And then I did a corresponding display view in animals. Okay, where I've got strongly typed helpers. And you can see that I, instead of applying coloring to a row, I just did it to the whole entire table. Okay, so this is very similar to what we did in Contasso. I'm just doing it for one of my own. And I went ahead and added it to the menu as well. And of course, now it's generating those databases, but you can see that it added that little background color. Okay, so that's your first task. And then once you're done with that, you're going to customize the tables in all of your index views to use a Bootstrap class other than the Bootstrap default. You know, and if you have a table and you don't want it condensed or squished looking, you know, you can use class equals table. You have to keep table, but you can do striped, bordered, hovered, you know, whatever class it is that you want to add. So this is in all of your index views. And so you can see what I did in all of my index views is I added coloring. I added table warning. And I actually really like how it looks. So that's how I'm getting that kind of that yellowish color. And so you'll notice in all of my indexes, that is the color that I have. Okay, and that would meet the requirement. Okay, so it does not matter to me what Bootstrap thingy you add. If you want to add coloring or the hover, you know, whatever it is, you do have to keep table in there. So even if you added the hover, it would be table space table dash hover. Okay. You want to change the button default class to a different color in all of the views. This is one you do need to be a little careful about. So what I did is I opened the delete, edit, and create. So for each of the view folders, those are the three that I opened because those are the three that have buttons set to button default. And then I did do the replace in files, but I had it only look in the open documents, and that is super important. Do not have it look in the current project or the entire solution. It will change a bunch of stuff you do not want changed, and it will break your application. So don't do that. Open the files, and the ones that we're talking about are the create, delete, and edit. And then, you know, you can have it look for button default, and have it change to a different color. Now, if you don't want to apply color, you can just change it to button basic, okay? But I do want to know that you know how to do that. And so if you download and run the app that I have for an example, you'll notice that when you go into create, okay, I've got the button colored, same with edit, and same with delete. And this is an action link. So I didn't change the action link, I only changed the actual buttons, okay? And I did that in all of them. And, opening them ahead of time and using replace works great. And the next requirement, add at least one icon to a view. So what I did was I added the little froggy icon to the layout view. Okay, and I think, yep, I didn't do that. This little paw is not an icon, it's actually a graphic. So this little frog here is the icon that I added. And because it was in layout view, it just happens to be in all of the views. But you only have to put it in one. Then you do need to create the register and login links with icons next to them. This is exactly what we did in the Contazzo University project. So no difference there. That does have to go in your layout.cshtml page. You also need to change the color of the text in one of your views using Bootstrap contextual colors. So again, what I decided to do here is I changed the color of the footer in the layout page. And because it's in the layout page, it actually got on all of the pages. Okay, do you need to change it in the layout page? No, you can just choose where you want to change the color. I don't care. So it's your choice. Okay, you guys can change it wherever you want. And let's see, modify one of your views to display a form using form check inline. You probably noticed where I did that already. I did that in the, I believe, is it my create? No, it was my edit. Okay, so this was where I put it. You guys can put it in whatever form you want. Just, I would choose one that didn't have a lot of entry areas. Because what happens is it makes the entry areas smaller the more you have because it tries to put it in a straight line. Okay, and so that's really the last requirement. If you are revising your final project for this, then you should have get ignore and get attribute in your project already. And you can either update your original on GitHub, or you can upload this one to a slightly different name. Okay, you can put lesson 5 on the end, which is what I did to keep them separate for you guys. And when you submit this, because you are choosing, what controller you're going to add the display to, you're choosing where you're going to put the icon, you're choosing where you're going to change the color. When you submit the link, I do need that information. Otherwise, it's like hunting for a needle in a haystack. So this information you need to tell me when you give me the link so I know where to look so I can find it. Okay. So if you have questions or if you run into problems, let me know. But this should not take you a whole lot of time, and this one should be kind of fun.